Hello, I'm Burnley Cook. I'm a little dusty, but let's go ahead and do a complete bowl. Now, when I say a complete bowl, I don't mean completed. Let's do one that's roughed out, ready to dry. I've already made two videos showing about how to mount the bowl onto the chuck and also sizing the jaws for the tenon. So here is, let me show you a little bit more about this tenon. So let's see how I do with this. I'm by myself today. Running solo. So there we are, and you can see it can expand or get smaller. And here's a set of dividers. Now, I was setting this set of dividers moving towards the correct, the engineered opening for them, which is just about right there. But now, this is a green piece of wood going in, a piece of pecan, or as the northerners say, pecans. But, oh yeah, I think I better address that right off the bat. The correct pronunciation is pecan, because you see, you can make a wonderful pie out of a pecan, but a pecan, that's something they used to keep by their bed during the night. So it is pecan. Anyway, because it's green, we want to go larger than this size because it's going to shrink and we need a little wiggle room. And so I go from an inside to an outside. And that should give me plenty of wiggle room when it distorts. So that is the size we're shooting for the tenon. So I'm gonna put this screw in. This is a set of hurricane jaws. I have one hurricane and the rest of them Vic Mark. So I think that's a pretty good ratio. And let's throw this on. Now look, right now this is running at 1085. Ha! Try to throw it on that. Oh, you'd be in a lot of trouble. I'm gonna take it all the way down to 340. And even that sometimes is too fast for me. And there you have it. It is now on the screw. There was a screw hole, a hole that was drilled into this side of the blank. All right, so now it's on the chuck, but it's not tight. So we lock the spindle and we give it a turn. Well, that's better. Maybe one little more. Oh no, that's it. Now, one thing that may thwart you and make you think something is horribly wrong is if on this side of the chuck, this side of the wood that's going to go up against the chuck jaws, if it's real uneven. If it's uneven, if it has steps in it from being cut with a chainsaw, it's going to have a tendency, no matter how much you tighten it, for this wood to wobble a little bit. Trust me. Yes. So I think you can see, I certainly can see, but we're too close. So let me back us up a little bit. Us? Oh, I think that's pretty good right there. All right, in we come. Now remember, one thing to truly beware of is when you start the lathe, do not contact the wood before you contact this rest, because you will get a jolt from hell. Choose your weapon wisely, and I have chosen. So once I start, I'm going to be a little silent throughout most of it. Now, it's on 340. I'm going to crank it up. Ooh, it's slinging water all over me. I'm going to stop right there. Just a little bit under 900. So here we go. Straight down onto the tool rest. It's on there. And a motion to remove corners. There's one. I just remarked it's already got it. The moisture being slung around, because I've been doing a lot of green wood recently, and if it slings and gets a little bit into the belts, it will tend to make them slip a wee bit. Alright, I've got some of the shoulder off, but I want to go ahead and look at the bottom. Now this is using just the left wing, and I'm just pulling it across. Now it wants to clog up pretty quickly. Let's take a shear cut to the center. What do you do when you get to the center? You slow down. There. All right, that's the beginning. Now you'll see that there is torn grain, and that's because this is so wet. All right, let me go out here and get some more of the edge, and I'm gonna turn the speed up just a little bit. Can't tell you the number of years that I've listened to northerners that come down, those people from the war of northern aggression that come down and look at everything. You know the difference between a Yankee and a damn Yankee? You know, the Yankee comes down and tours our homes and eats at our restaurants and says, "Oh, what a wonderful place you have here. It's just beautiful." And at the end of their time, they leave and go home. But the damn Yankee comes down, sees everything, has a wonderful time, says, "You know what? I think I want to stay." That is a damn Yankee. Just a little observation. I'm going to leave this piece right here, flattened. Now, I bet you're wondering, well, if this is just a rough turning, why are you going so slow? Well, I find myself doing that. And I find myself doing that with, like, piano tuning when I do a pitch raise. And most of the time it's just to get things into the general shape you want them to be, so you can do the fine tuning. But I don't do that. I often find myself putting it as spot on as I possibly can. And I tend to do that a lot with this. Now remember, these are set. These dividers are set to a bigger size for the chuck. And you want to only touch this one, the one that's closest to you, and line up that with this. And because this is a general stab at it at the moment, doesn't have to be precise. It is not precise at this point, but I've got it close enough that I can use it. Now, I would, if the wood were dry, or at least a little less wet, I would spend more time trying to do a little refining around this tenon, but it is, like I said, it's so wet, and you cannot use a scraper on it because it's just going to gum up the scraper every pass you make. So it's like a waste. See, I just did it. It's like a waste of time. What I just do, I touched it to the wood before I had put it down. Now, at this point again, I don't mind something sticking out down here as long as it doesn't interfere with this going into the jaws. It will not. Do I have a decent enough tenon to use? Yes. Now remember, the tenon, as the tenon approaches the bowl itself, it cannot get larger towards where the shoulder would be, so to speak. It can't get larger. You're going to have problems. It can be straight with a well-defined shoulder, or it can be go in with a well-defined shoulder, but it cannot go out. Talk amongst yourselves. I shall return, much like MacArthur. I have a spindle gouge. I'm not going to real obsess about it, but I do want it to be as accurate as possible. Now, sometimes when you have a lot of bad tear out, it actually will make enough fuzz to come down and interfere with the tenon. Right now, it's not going to do it. So here's a line. This part's thicker and much flatter. This is roughed. I'm not going to really worry about it all that much. So that's done. The exterior is now done. It wasn't that hard. I'm telling you, if the 65-year-old guy could learn all this, about 5 or 6 years ago and be doing this, there's no reason why you cannot. So let's lock the spindle and grab the bowl. Now, sometimes this is your real test of strength, as if you can, as if you could get this thing off. If you really tighten that sucker down when you're throwing this onto the lathe, you can actually make it so tight that you would just beg for help. All right, the screw comes off, and now we're left with this open set of jaws. The tenon will go into it, And if you get a look at the tenon, you can see it goes inwards a little bit. I hope you can. In it goes. You push. See where my thumb is? It's right in that hole where the screw was. So I'm pushing there and I'm tightening. And there you have it. It is now on the chuck. I'm gonna put the speed down. I'm gonna look to see how balanced it is. Oh man, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Bring this in. Now, preferably, this would be just about at center. Not quite, so I'm gonna take it down just a smidge. This is why I'd never be able to be a production turner. Despite the fact of not having the talent to do it. But I take a lot of time looking at things, and I know you can't do that when you're doing production. Huh, 1,000. 1,001? No. Man, he sprayed again. Now, this is, it didn't get this part, but I'm going to take a shear cut towards the center. But I'm not going to go all the way. Why not? I mean, it is all over me. Water, water everywhere. Don't you think we would have drowned? Water, water everywhere. And all the boards did shrink. What was that? The Rhine of the Ancient Mariner? Okay. Ooh, look. There's some rot. Let's get down below that. That's just, no. That's a problem. Better, but it's still not right. See, look at that. I gotta get down, baby. Down, down. Down. How's that? Ooh, so much better. Now, I've also provided myself with something. I don't want to hollow much further than where it jogs in. There is a 10% rule on hollowing bowls. Don't ask me who came up with that rule. I know not. This bowl is about, 7.5, 8 inches. So 10% of 8 inches would be right around 3/4 of an inch. Here we go. Now, most of the time, I know some of you are asking, where's your depth hole? Well, most of the time, I don't use a depth hole. And that's just the truth of the matter. I just don't do it. I don't know why. When I started doing it, I never used a depth hole. I would just make a judgment call and go with it. Now, did you see that? Did you see what happened? And that will tell you something. I was clearing out this, and suddenly the chisel went forward. Suddenly. I'm pushing too hard. Don't push so hard. As a wise fellow in Australia once said, you want to take a chisel and push hard on it? Become a wood carver. I hear those Australians can be very blunt people. I guess I'm not really interested in putting a depth hole in there, keeping me from turning this into a funnel, you know, if I blow through the bottle, because one of the most leading one of the most, the leading turner in the world just recently blew through the bottom. Wah, wah, wah. Look at there. What a nice cut. What a nice cut. But I got all that gook in the middle. Nice evenness. All right, now let's get rid of that stuff in the middle. I'm going to change chisels. I'm going to change it. Do you get an idea of how well prepared I was to do this? I'm going to a chisel that's more of what's called a bottom feeder. Now, the reason I do that The reason I do that is because I pretty much learned to use bowl scrapers on the edge of the bowl to the bottom to refine it. But this wood, as I said previously, is so wet, it will not permit a scraper to get in there. It'll just gum it up immediately. So the talking of the dogs. The talking of the dogs. I wish you could see the body. How I'm doing. Oh no, I don't want you to see my body. But I wish you could see the body work over on this side of the camera. See how my feet are moving around.